When we left off, an old fisherman was holding 4 fish that had looked at him like they had something to say. He was right about that. He sold them to the Sultan's kitchen. Fish that color are worth more than a year of ordinary ones, and the cook laid them in the pan. And the wall of the kitchen split open. A figure stepped out of the solid stone. She looked at the 4 fish in the hot pan, and she asked them a question, the same one, in a voice like a key turning in a lock. "Do you remember? Are you still true?" And the 4 fish in the pan lifted their heads and answered, "We remember, we are still true." She nodded. The wall closed, and the fish were only fish again, burnt, silent, ruined. The cook fainted. I don't blame the cook. By the 3rd night, my king had a habit. He arrived early. He was in the chair before I was in the room, and he didn't say anything about it, and neither did I. I lit the lamp, and I told him what the Sultan did next. The Sultan was not a fainting man. He was curious, which is a more useful thing in a king than people think, and rarer. He made the fisherman show him where the fish had come from, over the hill nobody walked over, to the lake that no river fed. And there past the lake where the fisherman had never once gone. There was a palace, black stone foundation to flag. The Sultan had ruled that country his whole life, and no one had ever told him it existed. He went in alone. That's the kind of king he was. The halls were empty, set for a feast nobody had touched, and somewhere far inside someone was weeping, the tired, patient weeping of a person who has been at it a very long time. He followed it. He came to a great room, and on a throne at the center of it sat a young man in a fine blue robe. The young man did not stand to greet the Sultan. The young man could not stand. He was flesh to the waist, and below the waist he was grey carved stone. "Forgive me for not rising," the young man said, and then he told the Sultan how a person ends up as half a statue on a throne in an empty palace. Which is a story inside my story, inside the story I am telling you. If that troubles you, you're going to have a hard week. He had been the king of these islands, young and married, and he thought happy. His queen was beautiful and clever. She was also a sorceress, which he did not know because those are exactly the things a clever sorceress makes sure you never know. Every night she gave him a cup of wine. Every night he slept like the dead. He thought he was simply tired. He was being put away like a tool, so she could go and do the thing she truly loved, her dark craft, out in a hidden place, feeding a power that was not his and was not kind. One night he didn't drink the wine. He followed her. He saw enough. He understood at last what he had married. And when he stood up and objected, when the tool refused to lie still, she stopped pretending. She raised her hands and she spoke a word, and she cursed him from the waist down into stone, so that he could feel everything and do nothing. And she was not finished. His city, his people. She took the 4 districts of the town and their 4 peoples, and she turned them into fish, white, red, blue, and yellow, 1 color for each quarter. She sank the whole city into a valley, pulled 4 hills up over it like a blanket, and let it fill with water. The lake with no river, it was a city. The fish were his subjects, and every day she came back to make sure the stone still hurt. Now the Sultan understood the fish, and the hills, and the weeping, and he did the thing this whole show is quietly about. He did not fight the magic with a bigger magic. He didn't have one. He fought it with a trick. He found where the sorceress went each night, the hidden place, the dark source she bowed to and obeyed, the low voice she believed was giving her all her power. He got there first. He put that dark thing out quietly, and then he waited in its place, in the dark, and made his own voice low and strange. And when the sorceress came to bow, the voice she obeyed spoke to her for the first time in years. It told her it was displeased. It told her the groaning of the Stone King and the silence of the fish were an offense, and that she would have no power at all until every one of her spells was undone. And she, who had turned a whole city into fish to feed that power, ran to undo it all to please it. She spoke over the water, and 4 fish became 4 peoples, wet and blinking and alive, standing in the streets of a city, rising back into the light. She went to the young king and lifted the curse, and stone became a man again, and the man's legs remembered they were legs. And when it was all undone, when she turned glowing to be thanked by the voice in the dark, the Sultan stepped out of the shadow. Not a dark power at all, just a curious king with a good plan. And that was the end of the sorceress's long reign, and the end of this story's magic. The young king got his legs, his city, and his people back. The Sultan gained a kingdom of grateful friends and adopted the young man as a son on the spot. And the fisherman, because I know you're wondering, and because the young king made sure of it, the fisherman went home rich. His 4 people who had eaten yesterday ate very well indeed, and kept eating for the rest of a long life. 4 casts a day, and the 4th one, that one strange day, caught him a fortune. And then the sun came up. And for the first time, I had actually finished a story. The king sat there with the ending in his lap, looking almost sorry to have it. That's the strange thing about a good ending. It's a small loss. My sister from the door knew her job, but this time she changed the line, because a finished story needs a different kind of question. "Sister," she said, "is that the best one you have?" And I said, loud enough for the throne to hear, "The best one? That was the small one. Tomorrow I'll tell him what a single date pit did to a merchant and a Jinni, and 3 old men who each had a stranger story than the last. And the king, who 3 nights ago could not say a word, who 2 nights ago could manage exactly one." The king said, "Come tomorrow." Not "you may come," not "you are summoned." Come tomorrow, like an invitation, like there was a person on that throne who wanted something and had decided for once to simply ask for it. He left. And on the arm of the great throne, beside the 2 threads of gold, there was a 3rd thread now, and it was not gold. It was blue, lapis blue, the exact blue of a fish that used to be a man's subject in a city under a lake, in a story I had just been allowed to finish. 3 nights down, 998 to go,